can hardly believe it. We got football again. It seems like yesterday the Raiders were beating the Buffalo Bills. They finally started to score some points. But I think this game is very AFC West-ish. And it's going to come down to the Raiders remembering the last time they played an AFC West opponent. That was the Broncos. And I hope they remember this one play. The Raiders were going to run the ball out. Let's start running. That's what you thought. So what does Carr do? He throws an interception, and it gets called back. And I remember, I forget who it was on the sideline. I think it was Hudson screaming his head off, like, what the, Carr messed up. He's just like, gee whiz, threw an interception. Can't do that. And what made it possible to really win that game is earlier on in the game, Carr was getting some hits. He got sacked a couple times. And they just took it at him. Offensive line just started hitting him. I remember there's one play, it shows Penn, he's got Von Miller on his back like a beetle on his back. That's what you got to do. And it's going to be cold. That'll affect both teams. But, yeah, you got to realize that it's going to affect both teams. Screw all this BS about KC, they're used to the cold. Yeah, I'm sure all those Chiefs live in a teepee too. No one's used to the cold. But since you're both going to have to hit each other, hit them harder. I would put it in the offensive line's hands. Because Murray's back. And you got Rashad too, especially. And put it in the hands of the offensive line. The last time the Raiders played the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football was 2014. The Raiders' win-loss record had a 10 in it, but it was 0-10. And everyone remembers that Murray run 90 yards. It was kind of like Bo Jackson, He just shot through. Made a couple guys miss, and they really didn't respect them. The Raiders were at the time, I remember, they were the worst Russian team since World War II. That's a long time ago. And they played less games back then, and they were bad. They were bad. But you have to put it in the hands of the offensive line. I know the Chiefs gave up a lot of yards through the air in the Bronco game, but they should have lost that game. I feel very strongly about this, and it goes before the kicker. They're trying to kick a 62-yard field goal to win it. You know what you do at the end of the game there? Remember, there was a big long play, the Bronco, running down the field for that touchdown. You just fall on the ground at the 5-yard line. And then you start running the clock out. You give Alex Smith no time to come back. Because he did it in that game, and he's done it in other games. Don't give him any time. You got to play keep away, just like the Raiders did in versus Denver. Doesn't matter if it's in KC. Doesn't matter if it's cold. Doesn't matter if they're going to shout and scream. Who cares? Run the ball. Carr has an injured finger, which probably isn't totally healed yet. This time of the year, things just don't heal. He doesn't have the biggest hands in the world. See my hands? That's my left hand. And my hand is bigger than his. I'm not saying I can throw a pass like him, but my hand's bigger. And when it's cold, it's harder to grip a football. I know he's a football player and he's much younger than me, but still, it's harder to grip the football. Put it in the offensive line's hands. That's an order. Really. Don't screw around. In the first game, what was it? It was rainy, and they're playing on a field that is below sea level. So it's just a sog fest. And what do they do? Well, actually, they played, if you compare that game, that was in the 2014, was also a rainy day. I say run the ball. They didn't run the ball then. They ran it 17 times. That's it in the first game. The Chiefs ran it like 40 times. That's why they had so many yards. And Carr had a couple of turnovers. Can't do that. Minimize the turnovers by running the ball like crazy. And that includes going for it on 4th and 1. If you run it and, 4th and 1, just show them. Just go for it. I don't care if you're on your own 40-yard line. Just go for it. Just go for it. Keep the pressure on. You have 4 downs. It's a 4-par course. That is what football is. So you keep on running it, and you'll eventually wear them down. You got a much bigger offensive line than this. And some of the defenders, nowadays the rushes or whatever, Houston, just like Von Miller, he's not 295 pounds. He's not a defensive end. These are linebackers. And they can get worn down by 320-pound, 350-pound men, like squishing them all the time. You should put a little extra belly into it when you pancake them. That's how it should go. Carr will have to throw some passes, but minimize it. Put it in their hands to control the clock. The Raiders have problems on defense, injuries. Carl Joseph is out. Nate Allen will be playing in his place. And remember Travis Kelce, real big problem. I want to see Kauza playing. Kauza, he played 4 snaps that I counted on defense. 1 sack. Compared to all the others that are getting no sacks, I'd say he did really well. And if you watch the play, he fights off a face mask and swims around and just sacks him. You need that. You definitely need that. He should get some playing time. He should get some playing time because you know what they need? They need plays on defense. What happened last 2 weeks? Mac, defense. Plays on defense to end the game. Need that early. No more of this comebacks. But definitely run the ball. If they don't run the ball, it could be problematic. Because the Chiefs are very opportunistic. But this is like Romanowski said, it's now or never. I mean, you have not been in this position since, I think, before 2002. Because that team had a 4-game losing streak. I remember, right? So you got to get your act together tonight. You got to take it. If you want it, you got to take it. You're not going to get this opportunity. The window is going to close and close and close. And just like the Chiefs have been up there, whatever, they're bound for a reset, whatever. Watch the Patriots. Watch the Patriots when Brady goes out. I know they won 3 games without him, but they'll continue. They had an easier schedule. But run the ball. Run the ball. Run the ball like Marty Schottenheimer used to run the ball against the Raiders. If you remember that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He used to run it down the Raiders' throat. Just wait for him to break. Sooner or later, they break. Really. Mac has to step it up, and you also need other people on defense to step it up. It starts at the line, and I say Kauza plays. Kauza should play instead of Ward. Really. Or at least in obvious passing situations. when it's an obvious passing situation, like 3rd and long, even 2nd and long, I would put Cowser in there if you can. Let him get to the quarterback. Make a huge play. Force an interception, a fumble, a stop, whatever. But this is the Raiders' first playoff game since 2002. Really. Don't screw it up.